The galaxy was quiet. Empires stretched across the stars, their fleets powerful, their rulers proud. They believed nothing new could surprise them. Wars had come and gone. Civilizations had risen and fallen. To them, Earth was only another young world, a small planet on the edge of the void. Then a signal came. It was faint at first, carried across the cold emptiness of space. Alien listening stations picked it up, their operators leaning closer to the speakers. The voice was human, calm, steady, but heavy with something deeper. A warning. You wanted war? Then listen closely to what comes next. The words spread fast. Across the council chambers, across the trading halls, across the grand empires, beings of every shape and size replayed the broadcast. Some scoffed. Some laughed. Others frowned but said nothing. What is Earth? The empires asked. A small world barely out of its cradle. Their fleets are weak. Their colonies scattered. They are nothing. For years humanity had been watched with amusement. The great empires saw humans as noisy, stubborn, and reckless explorers. They expanded quickly but without caution. They built colonies in dangerous zones. They fought nature on hostile planets as if it was a sport. To the galaxy, humans were brave, but foolish. So when Terran colonies were attacked, no one expected resistance. The Dravari Empire struck first, eager to seize resources. They hit the colony of New Horizon, burning its farms and cities. The Council believed humans would surrender. The galaxy always surrendered when stronger powers demanded it, but the humans did not. Instead, Earth went silent. Their colonies cut off communication. Their fleets vanished from common routes. Their diplomats stopped attending council gatherings. For months, nothing came. The galaxy whispered, perhaps they have given up. Perhaps humanity has finally learned its place. Then the signal returned. It was not a plea for peace. It was not a cry for help. It was a warning. The Terran voice carried across the stars, steady and unshaken. You wanted war. Now you will face the cost. We are not broken. We are not finished. Remember these words because what comes next will change everything. In the council chambers, laughter broke out. A dozen alien ambassadors mocked the broadcast. Their ships are outdated. Their weapons are crude. They think words will scare us? One sneered. The humans are desperate. This is their final bluff, said another. But in the shadows, not everyone laughed. The Zorathi, a species old and cautious, remembered something. They whispered among themselves. No species speaks like that unless they are ready. No species goes silent unless they are building something. Scouts were sent to confirm. Small ships entered Terran space looking for signs of movement. Most did not return. The few transmissions that slipped through were broken, filled with static and panic. One voice managed to cry out before cutting off, "It's not possible." And then nothing. The galaxy demanded answers. The council called for proof that Earth was still weak, but no answers came. Only silence. And the echo of that message replaying again and again. On frontier stations, soldiers began to whisper about the last signal from Earth. Traders claimed Terran colonies were no longer burning but rebuilding. Miners swore they saw strange new ships patrolling asteroid belts. All of it sounded like rumors, like stories told to scare children. But the unease was growing. The empires tried to bury the signal, to dismiss it as nothing more than a bluff. Yet every ruler, every commander, every soldier who heard the words felt the same chill. You wanted war. Then listen closely to what comes next. What could a small world like Earth mean by that? What weapon could they possibly have? The galaxy laughed in the open. But in the silence of their war rooms, leaders studied the maps of Terran space and remembered one truth they had always ignored. Humans were born on a death world, and when death worlders promise war, no one knows what follows. The broadcast ended there, leaving only static, but the message had already spread too far. The galaxy waited, curious, but also afraid, because deep down every empire knew one thing. This was not the end. It was only the beginning. End of Part 1. Suspense Hook. The last Terran broadcast hinted at something the galaxy had never seen before. A weapon hidden, silent, waiting. No one knew what it was, but soon they would. The last signal from Earth echoed across the galaxy. Every station had played it. Every council chamber had heard it. The words were simple, but they carried weight. You wanted war. Then listen closely to what comes next. At first, laughter filled the stars. In the shining halls of the Galactic Council, alien diplomats smirked and shook their heads. The Zarkathi ambassador, tall and scaled, hissed, "Empty words from a fragile species. Their ships are dust compared to ours." The Calorian Prime lifted his jeweled hand, mocking, "Humans love drama. They roar before they fall silent. This signal means nothing." Laughter spread across the chambers, echoed in the trading stations, and filled the broadcasts of Imperial networks. The empires agreed. Humanity was weak, loud, and foolish. But not everyone laughed. Doubts in the shadows, the Zorathi kept their silence. A cautious species, they had seen younger civilizations rise and burn out. Yet the human broadcast disturbed them, not because of the words, but because of the voice. Calm, steady, too steady for a defeated race. One Zorathi elder whispered in his dark chamber, "No prey speaks like that unless they are hiding teeth." Across the stars, smaller races, those who lived in the cracks between empires, began whispering too. Miners, traders, and mercenaries had their own stories. A smuggler on the edge of Terran space claimed he had seen ships moving through asteroid fields. Ships that did not look like anything the humans had built before. A mining crew swore their scanners caught strange energy spikes from an abandoned Terran colony, spikes too sharp to be natural. And then came the scouts, the vanishing. Scouts the Dravari Empire, arrogant from their victories, sent the first scout fleet. 5 light cruisers entered Terran space, boasting loudly across open channels. "Terrans, hear this. You hide behind your words. Come out and face us or be forgotten." Their signals were clear, for 1 hour, then silence. The cruisers never returned. The Council dismissed it as an accident, a starstorm, a navigational error. Nothing more. But then the Veil Dominion sent 2 fast recon ships. They vanished as well. Their last fragmented transmission carried only 2 words. "They're here," and then nothing. Rumors spread faster than truth. Some said Terrans had unleashed pirates to destroy scouts. Others whispered of hidden weapons, gravity mines, stealth ships, even forbidden technologies no one dared build. The more empires mocked, the more their soldiers whispered in fear. A great debate was called in the council. The hall glittered with alien pride. Leaders from every major empire stood tall, voices ringing across the chamber. "They bluff," said the Dravari, pounding their claws on the marble table. "We burned their colonies. We crushed their fleets. What can they do?" "They stall for time," added the Calorian Prime. "Perhaps they hope allies will come." "None will. No one sides with humans," the room agreed. It always did. The powerful had no reason to fear the weak. But then the Zorathi elder rose. His voice was quiet, but it silenced the chamber. "You do not understand. Humans are not like us. They are death worlders. They do not surrender when beaten. They grow sharper." Laughter erupted again. "Old ghost stories," one shouted. "Primitive legends," another mocked. But the elder said only one thing more before leaving. "Mock them then. But remember this moment when they come." The fear that spread even as the empires dismissed the warning. Their people began to fear. Civilians played the Terran broadcast in hidden corners, whispering, "What if it's true?" Soldiers, proud in their armor, began to question. What happened to the missing scouts? Why had the humans gone so silent for so long? And then there were the whispers about Earth itself. Some claimed the homeworld skies now blazed with strange fire at night. Others swore that a massive ship, larger than any battleship, had been seen lifting from the ice fields of Mars. No proof. Only rumors. But rumors were enough. The empires tried to silence them. They censored broadcasts, crushed free traders, punished those who spoke too loudly. But fear is not so easily killed. The uneasy silence weeks passed. Terran space remained quiet. No fleets moved openly, no diplomats spoke, no colonies sent messages. It was silence that pressed heavier than war drums. The galaxy, for all its mockery, could not look away. Every admiral kept one eye on Terran space. Every counselor kept one ear tuned for the next signal. Every soldier in the still hours of the night wondered if humanity was watching them back. And then it came. A fragment of a new transmission leaked into the outer systems. Not a full broadcast, just a few words carried on broken static: "We are coming." The message was short. The meaning was not. Suspense ending for Part 2. The council gathered in rage, demanding answers. Fleets were ordered to assemble, defenses to be raised. But in their private thoughts, behind their proud masks, Every empire felt the same icy fear. The humans had promised war. And for the first time, the galaxy began to wonder, what if they meant it? The galaxy was no longer laughing. The first wave of Terran retaliation had torn through fleets that once seemed invincible. Worlds that mocked Earth now whispered in fear. And yet, the empires still convinced themselves it was luck, not strength. They told themselves humanity cannot keep this up. They will tire. They will break. But Earth did not break. In the war room deep beneath Earth's surface, commanders studied the next phase. The broadcast had been sent, the fleets were engaged, but now the humans prepared something even larger. Colonel Arya stood before a massive star map, where hundreds of red marks glowed, enemy fleets, staging areas, supply chains. Around her, generals from the Allied Terran Command argued in sharp voices. "They outnumber us 20 to 1, one officer warned. "They think numbers are enough," Arya replied, her voice hard. "They've forgotten what war truly is. We haven't." The Council of Empires still dismissed Earth as a death world anomaly. But behind the silence, spies reported terrifying rumors. Terran weapons that burned entire fleets in seconds, ships that moved faster than detection, tactics no empire had ever seen. In the occupied colonies, on a Terran mining colony seized by the Empire, alien soldiers marched the streets. Civilians whispered about Earth's promise. Brace yourself for what comes next. Some feared it was just words. Others believed. One young boy pointed to the sky where streaks of light cut across the stars. "Look, ships!" Alien guards scoffed until alarms blared. Terran strike craft tore through the blockade above, silent and precise. The guards realized too late. Humans had returned, and they weren't here to negotiate. For the first time, civilians saw hope return in fire. Earth was keeping its promise. Across the Stars Empire, fleets gathered, determined to crush Earth in one decisive strike. Their commanders laughed, promising the galaxy an easy victory. But when their ships warped into Terran-controlled sectors, they found themselves walking into shadows. Terran vessels appeared from nowhere, striking with brutal efficiency. Weapons fired in ways alien computers couldn't predict. Missiles split into dozens of smaller warheads, weaving through shields like knives through cloth. The galaxy's oldest fleets began to collapse under the onslaught of a species everyone had dismissed as weak. The secret weapon, still, whispers spread of something worse. The broadcast from Earth had promised not just fleets, but something no one has ever seen. In orbit above Earth, a colossal shadow emerged, a ship so massive it blocked starlight. Forged in silence, hidden for decades beneath the ice of Antarctica. It rose now with thunder. Its name was Resolute Dawn. The Resolute was unlike any ship in the galaxy. It was not sleek, not elegant. It was brutal steel, layer upon layer of armor, bristling with weapons designed not just to destroy fleets but to shatter empires. When the first images of the ship reached alien councils, silence fell. One ambassador whispered in disbelief, This is not a ship. It is a planet of war." The galaxy reacts, panic spread. Some empires began retreating their fleets, hoping to avoid direct confrontation. Others doubled down, refusing to believe Earth could truly challenge them. But civilians across the galaxy, the conquered, the enslaved, the silenced, began to whisper a new word. Terrans. For the first time, they spoke it not with fear, but with hope. The next broadcast, and then came Earth's next message. The voice was calm, measured, but carried through every frequency across the stars. "You thought we were weak. You thought our silence meant surrender. You wanted war. And war is what you shall have. But remember this, we do not fight for conquest. We fight for survival. And survival makes us stronger than you can ever imagine." The message ended, and fleets across the galaxy braced. For the first time in history, the galaxy no longer wondered if Earth would fall. They wondered instead, could anything stop Earth now? And deep within the councils of power, alien leaders began to whisper what no one had ever dared to say aloud before. If humanity survives this war, they will rule the stars. The galaxy held its breath. The Terran supercarrier Resolute Dawn had risen from the shadows of Earth, a steel colossus that dwarfed anything seen before. For a moment, even the arrogant empires hesitated. Fleets that once mocked Earth now studied the warship in terrified silence. But then, Sensors screamed. Something else had appeared, not a fleet, not a weapon they recognized. It was bigger than a supercarrier, larger than the massive orbital stations used by empires for centuries. From the blackness of space came a structure that blotted out the stars. A station, alive with energy, and carrying the scars of ancient construction. The galaxy's council watched in disbelief. One alien elder gasped, That is not human. That thing is older than any of us." Humanity's gamble revealed within the Terran war room. Admiral Kane stood with his officers, calm but sharp-eyed. "Sir, the station's broadcasting on old Terran codes," one officer reported. "It's ours, it's something we recovered." The truth came out. For decades, humanity had uncovered fragments of lost technology, hidden in the ruins of ancient star systems. While the galaxy dismissed Earth as primitive, humans had been piecing together secrets. The Resolute Dawn was powerful, but the station, called the Bastion, was something else entirely. It was a fortress designed by an extinct civilization. Now restored by human hands, Admiral Kane turned to his officers. "Transmit the signal. Let the galaxy hear it." The final broadcast, the Terran voice returned, echoing across every channel, every star system. "You wanted war. You believed we were weak. You thought Earth would kneel. You were wrong. We did not build alone. We learned. We rebuilt, and now you will face not only our will, but the weapons of those who came before." The voice paused, cold and steady. "War is what you demanded. What follows will change everything." And then the Bastion's weapons came alive. Fire across the stars, the first Empire fleet moved in, confident their sheer numbers could overwhelm Earth. But when the Bastion fired, their arrogance died. A single blast split through shields like they were paper, tearing entire carriers in half. A ripple of energy pulsed outward, disabling hundreds of ships before they could fire back. Terran strike craft poured through the chaos, surgical and merciless. The Resolute Dawn joined the assault, its rail cannons hammering through flagships while swarms of Terran drones cut apart enemy escorts. For the first time in history, the galaxy saw two impossible truths. Earth had not only survived, it had adapted. Terrans had become the inheritors of ancient power. Panic among the empires, across council chambers, leaders panicked. "Shut down the war," one shouted. "Negotiate with them," another demanded. But others whispered the unthinkable. "It's too late. They won't stop now." Because everywhere the Terrans struck, they freed colonies. They destroyed occupation fleets. They gave weapons to the enslaved. In days, rebellions flared across alien empires, fueled by the knowledge that humanity fought not for conquest but for survival and for justice. The turning point, the Empire's high commander, furious and desperate, ordered a final counterattack, every remaining fleet to converge on Terran space. It was the largest fleet in galactic history. Billions of lives, thousands of warships. Their plan was simple: drown Earth in fire. The galaxy watched, certain this would be the end, but Earth had prepared. The Bastion moved into position above the Terran colonies, shielding entire systems with fields of energy no alien had ever seen. The Resolute Dawn led the countercharge, a spear of steel cutting through the tide. Battle erupted, stars burning as weapons clashed. For hours, the galaxy witnessed the impossible. One species, outnumbered beyond reason, holding against the greatest armada ever assembled. And then, Earth struck back, the final strike. The Bastion's core unleashed its last weapon, a gravitational shockwave that tore space itself. Enemy ships were crushed, twisted apart as though the universe had turned against them. The Resolute Dawn fired its full arsenal in the same moment, missiles and rail fire turning the battlefield into a storm of light and steel. When the smoke cleared, the greatest armada of the galaxy was gone. Silence filled the stars, and in that silence, humanity stood unbroken. The galaxy remembers for centuries to come. The galaxy would tell the story of that day, how a young species mocked as weak, rose from the ashes of its colonies and defied empires older than their sun. They would whisper the words that had begun it all. "You wanted war. Now brace yourself for what follows." The galaxy had demanded Earth's surrender. Instead, it had witnessed Earth's ascension. From that day, one truth could not be denied. Humanity had entered the galactic stage. And nothing would ever be the same. The galaxy waited, Rumors had spread like wildfire after the missing scouts and the broken signal. Some said Earth was bluffing. Others whispered that something had changed. Something dangerous was hidden in the dark. For weeks, the empires watched Terran space. Nothing moved. Nothing stirred. The silence pressed heavier than any fleet, and then the silence broke. Hook. Opening suspense. At the edge of the Dravari frontier, traders spotted shadows moving between the stars. Not pirates, not smugglers, ships, human ships, but they were not the same as before. These were not the old Terran cruisers, rusty, thin, barely able to fight. These ships looked different, harder, heavier, like predators cloaked in steel. The first descriptions caused laughter in the council. Exaggeration, said the Calorian Prime. Scared traders always see monsters. But when military sensors confirmed the readings, the laughter stopped. The first sightings, the Terran fleet moved slowly but with purpose. Long dark hulls stretched through space, their engines burning brighter than before. They carried strange energy signatures, weapons the empires had never recorded. They look unfinished, said one alien commander, like machines built in a rush. But when the images were compared, one detail stood out. Terran ships were not built for beauty, not for ceremony, not even for defense. They were built for war. Their shapes were jagged, their armor thick, their guns oversized. No empire would design a ship like this, too wasteful, too crude. And yet somehow they radiated one terrifying truth. These were ships made to kill. The fear grows alien councils argued again. They cannot fight us, said the Dravari. Our fleets are larger. Our shields are stronger, but where did they get this power? Asked the Zarathi elder. These ships are new. They were not in their fleets before. How did they build so many so fast? No answer came. The galaxy had always underestimated humans. They had forgotten that Earth was a death world, where storms tore cities apart, where predators stalked the forests, where volcanoes buried civilizations and yet humans always rebuilt. Where others saw danger, humans saw training. And now it seemed humanity had trained for war. The first move, the Terran fleet did not wait to be attacked. Instead, it crossed into enemy space, straight into Dravari territory. The Dravari, proud and confident, sent a fleet to meet them, 30 ships strong, armed with plasma cannons and shield generators that had crushed dozens of other species. They expected the humans to surrender at the first sight of such power. But the Terrans did not slow. They advanced, their guns silent but ready. For a moment, the two fleets faced each other in silence. Then the Dravari commander sent a message across open channels. Humans, you are outnumbered. Power down your ships and you may yet live. The reply came at once, cold and steady. No, you wanted war, you will have it. And then the stars lit up. The Dravari opened fire first, plasma bolts streaking across the void. Their shots struck the Terran ships, but the humans did not break. Armor held, shields flickered but did not fail. Then the Terrans answered. It was not with plasma, not with lasers. Their weapons were brutal, massive rail cannons hurling slugs at impossible speed, kinetic strikes that tore through shields like paper. Missiles spread like a storm, weaving past defenses, detonating inside enemy formations. The Dravari had never seen weapons like this. They were raw, simple, and devastating. Within minutes, their perfect formations collapsed. One by one, their ships turned into burning wrecks. The Terrans moved like predators, cutting through the fleet without hesitation. They wasted no time, no words. When it ended, 30 Dravari ships were gone. The humans lost only 2. The Galaxy React's news of the battle spread faster than light. Every empire received the reports, every admiral read the logs. The images were clear. Terran ships, Terran weapons, Terran victory. The council was in chaos. This is impossible, shouted one ambassador. Humans cannot win against such numbers. They are Deathworlders, muttered the Zarathi elder. This is only the beginning. For the first time, the galaxy realized that Earth's broadcast had not been a bluff. It had been a promise. Suspense ending for Part 3A's panic spread. Another Terran signal was captured. It was short, only a few words, but enough to send fear into every empire. First strike complete. We are advancing. The council stared at the transmission, their voices falling silent. Because in those few words, the truth was clear. Humanity was not defending. They were attacking. and nothing in the galaxy was ready for what came next. The galaxy had seen wars before. Empires clashed, fleets shattered, worlds burned. But the battle between the Terrans and the Dravari was different. It was not a war between equals. It was a hunt. Hook. Opening suspense. The Dravari Empire had lost 30 ships in the first engagement. The news spread like fire. No one believed it at first. Some called it lies. Others said the images were fake. But when the wrecks of Dravari ships drifted across the void, seen by traders and scavengers alike, the truth could no longer be denied. And the truth was terrifying. The humans had struck first. And they had won. Panic in the stars in the council chambers, voices clashed. "This is madness," shouted one ambassador. "They are barbarians. They use crude weapons, yet they destroy us. They fight without rules," another hissed. "This is why they must be stopped." But the Zarathi elder only whispered, "They fight as they have always lived, on the edge of death." Still, the empires tried to calm themselves. The Dravari had been careless, they said, overconfident. Humanity had been lucky. Surely, when the full might of an empire struck, the Terrans would fall. But the Terrans did not wait for another attack. They moved again, the Terran offensive. The human fleet did not return to Earth. They did not stay to protect colonies. Instead, they pushed forward deeper into Dravari space. This shocked every empire. No species had ever done this before. Weaker civilizations always pulled back, always tried to defend their homeworlds. But the humans, they went for the throat. In 3 weeks, Terran ships hit 5 Dravari outposts. None survived. Witnesses described the strikes as sudden and merciless. Terran warships dropped from faster-than-light travel like shadows, striking before alarms could even sound. Planetary defenses fell in hours. Garrisons surrendered or were wiped out, and when it was over, the Terrans did not stay. They vanished back into the dark, leaving only ruins behind. It was war without warning. War without mercy, alien reactions. The galaxy trembled. "The humans are insane," declared the Calorian Prime. "No one fights like this. No one." But deep down, every commander knew why. Humans were not trying to defend territory. They were trying to break their enemy, to make them bleed until there was nothing left to fight with. This was not defense. This was extermination, and the more the galaxy watched, the more one truth became clear. Humans were fighting a war that no other empire understood. The Battle of Karos Belt, the Dravari finally gathered a true fleet. 100 warships, the pride of their empire. They chose their battlefield well, the Karos Belt, a region of thick asteroids, hoping the terrain would slow the Terrans. When the human fleet arrived, smaller in number, the Dravari commander laughed. "They are trapped. Crush them." The battle began with the Dravari unleashing volleys of plasma tearing through asteroids. Explosions lit the void. The Terrans seemed cornered, but then the humans disappeared. Their ships vanished into the rocks, slipping between the asteroids with impossible precision. The Dravari fired blindly, wasting ammunition. Their formations broke as they searched for targets. And then the Terrans struck. Railgun slugs screamed out of the shadows, piercing ship after ship. Missiles darted between asteroids, striking engines and reactors. The humans moved like predators in a hunting ground, using the belt as cover, ambushing from every angle. In less than an hour, the mighty Dravari fleet was gone. Only fire and broken metal remained. The galaxy watched in horror. Terror spreads. After Karos, the galaxy could no longer dismiss humanity. Merchants refused to travel near Terran space. Soldiers muttered about ghost fleets that appeared and vanished at will. Civilians whispered of planets already burned to ash. The Council tried to unite, calling for joint fleets to stop the Terrans. But the empires did not trust each other. Old rivalries ran too deep. Each feared that while they fought the humans, their neighbor might strike. And so humanity kept advancing. The broadcast, then, another signal came. Stronger, clearer than the first. It was the same Terran voice, calm and steady. "We warned you. You laughed. Now you see. This is only the first strike. We are not done." The message spread like a plague, played in secret across every station, every ship, every colony. No empire could silence it. The galaxy realized something terrifying. Humanity was not fighting for survival anymore. They were fighting to prove a point. Suspense ending for Part 4A as the broadcast ended. Reports arrived from the frontier. Entire Dravari worlds were being abandoned. Colonies burned. Outposts gone. And in the council, one truth could no longer be denied. Humanity was not bluffing. They were winning. And the real question was no longer if the humans could be stopped, but who would be next when the Terrans turned their eyes beyond the Dravari Empire.